Hello and welcome to today's episode of the Work at Home Rockstar Podcast. Super excited for today's guest. He is the owner and founder of Nurtured Sales, and he helps business owners build their client base and retain them using unique sales strategies. Very excited to be rocking out today with Benji Donhard. Hey, Benji, you ready to rock?
There you go, mate. Definitely. Let's do it.
Perfect. Let's start off on a good note. So tell me a story of success in your business that we can be inspired by.
Beautiful. So I'm going to start from the very, very start. Basically, the ability to start something from nothing and actually generate revenue and income for yourself from absolutely nothing, and have a belief in a gap in the market or a niche in the market. You see that obviously when you start a business, you're looking to solve a problem for someone. So that's the ability to be able to do that and let it flow and actually see it come into play from a vision, thought, and then put a plan into action and then have it execute on that. To me, that's success. And then to do it again and again, even through the failures, but with the success, it's I think it's great. And I think that really is my biggest success is doing that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I like what you said there. It's business really is about solving problems, and that's, and that's the best way to even position it too, right? I mean, it makes you feel less salesy when you can think of you're just solving a problem, right? You got a problem. If you got that problem, hey, I can help you, right?
Exactly right.
Awesome.
Exactly right.
Awesome. Now, seeing this, happen and getting all these successes. I mean, you mentioned that there's some mistakes that happen along the way. We do hit bad notes. So, maybe can you share something that happened that was not, according to plan, and maybe we can avoid that, or maybe you can even help us to recover from it if it happens to us?
Yeah, definitely. So I really think looking obviously when you're on your entrepreneurial journey, you come across people that you think are doing right by you. They might dangle a few carrots in front of you, and they might use you and try and extract stuff from you for their own benefit, not your own benefit, but they make it out as if it's your benefit. So I think partnerships or people that come in and try and sort of steal your idea is a bit of a failure. That's where I think I've failed before is there. And also not identifying your perfect client or the ideal client. So not everyone's the right fit for your company, and being too focused on money or too focused on the outcome of I need that client, I need that, or prospect, I want to convert, without actually looking at what their problem is and if we can actually solve it. So look, are you the right fit for it? Like we will explain what we do, but if that doesn't resonate with you, then there's no point in moving forward. Not trying to push that sale. And that, I think that can come with, I know that can come with focusing on the monetary outcome too much and the sale. And I've definitely done it more than once. And now I've learned to not take every client. You don't need every client. Not everyone can work with you. It's just like not when you walk into a room, not all 100 people aren't going to like you. There's going to be a couple of people that don't.
Yep. Yeah. And that's the thing. That's the difference between looking at something maybe short term versus long term, right? I mean, short term, you're right. I mean, if you can convince that person to give you their money, then you've got a paycheck. But long term, they're gonna probably not be happy with you because you didn't solve their problem, right?
And they could be a punished client. I had one not long ago, and they were like, when I mean punish, I mean like very not the right fit, not the right morals, not the same values. Expectations were way off the mark of what I set out, but I still took the job on it. Even the terms that it was supposed to be, or the 3-month term, dropped down. And then when I look back at it, he got in control of the sale because I wanted the sale so much. So yeah.
So now, okay, so then two things. One is, how do you think we could avoid that? Like, how do you avoid just doing it for the money instead of going out there and trying to solve problems?
One, don't get greedy, and remember the long-term gain is what you want to do. Yes, sales, you need sales to obviously keep cash flow, keep the business alive, but you still got to think of long-term. And I think when you do look long-term, you'll make better and more educated decisions for the business rather than greedy decisions that could crash the business very quickly. That's definitely where I think you can avoid.
Well, and I think also there's one thing, there's greed, which is, you know, more than you need, but there's also survival too. And I think that maybe a lot of people might be, you know, just rushing their business a little too much. Maybe they don't have a, you know, a safety net. I mean, I do think that, you know, you need to take risks and go out there and do stuff. But on the other hand, I mean, quitting your job today, having no paycheck tomorrow, and starting a business from scratch with no money might put you in a situation like you just described, where it's not really greed, it's survival that you're looking for, right?
Exactly. It's so funny. Like there's a couple of analogies from mentors and stuff that I've listened to, and some people like put yourself in a position where you need it's make or break, or you won't eat, and you'll make those sales. You'll get your business will stay alive.
Yep.
But then other people have been like, well, no, don't, because you don't need everyone. Not everyone, as I said, is right for your business. And it could, your energy, if they aren't right, could be so focused on making them happy, you forget about the clients that are good for your business.
Yep. Yeah.
So it's counterintuitive, really. Like I think there's a bit of both. I think if you can find that balance and align yourself perfectly and stay true to your vision, and don't let a client try and take you off path, or don't let a prospect try and take you off path, I think that's where you've got to be true to yourself and your vision.
Yeah, I think you're 100% right. Like there's a real balance there, because you are right. If you are desperate, you will make the sale, but will it be the right person?
Exactly.
Right? So it's one of those things where, I mean, you know, some people just need a kick in the pants to get them going. But I mean, I think a lot of times you might just need maybe some sort of accountability partner, some coach or somebody to keep you on track, to make sure that, you know, hey, you know what? This isn't the right person for you. You know, I know you need to make a sale today, but keep going, hit the phone, find the person that's right for you. This is not the right one for you, right?
Like an advisory type role, then that's definitely something I think every business needs, is like an advisory sort of type. Like sometimes the consultant or the outside person can see what you can't, because you're so focused on the outcome. They're like, hold on, put the brakes on.
Yeah. Well, and you mentioned something at the very beginning about partnerships as well. So what happened there? Like, I know I have my own opinions on partnerships, but what do you think?
I think just believing might be one of my big is believing what people say too much, and thinking I really see the good in everyone. I struggle to, like, if someone's sort of, you know, showing me they're doing good things for me, I struggle to see that there could be an element of bad or for their own self gratification and their own personal sort of gain. I struggle to see that sometimes. That's a big weakness of mine. I take people on face value too much. I don't want to look past that they could be, you mean, a bit shady. Yeah. Like, I'm a very lovable, fun energy. I love it. I mean, I love people. So I always take people for it. But I've looked slow. It's funny that my business journey now has slowly made me more aware that, you know, not everyone's what they seem.
Yeah. So I think for me, the way that I would get around that would be, one is make sure that you stay individual. Like, a partnership, I don't think there's any situation where really a partnership is beneficial to anybody. I mean, oftentimes partnerships get created because of fear. Usually you've got something that you need from somebody else. You're like, well, you know, I'm not very good at sales, so I'm going to partner with this person because they're really good at sales and I'm really good at getting the work done, or vice versa. So you're creating a business partnership basically because you feel like you can't do it on your own, which is just a limiting belief. And
exactly right.
You know, you could easily just create a soft partnership, something like, hey, you know, let's collaborate, you know, rather than let's partner together to get this done.
Yeah, exactly, like a joint venture, something like that.
Sure, because then if something goes goes sideways, well, then no problem. You go your way, they go their way. But if you've now married yourself to a person, then you could be in for trouble. And then the other part about not seeing the potential downside, I think really that comes down to, you know, being very clear on what's in it for them, what's in it for you. If you can't see what's in it for them and they're just trying to help you, there's something weird going on there.
Exactly.
You know, because they're hiding what it is that's in it for them. And why are they hiding what's in it for them?
That's exactly what happened with the first one. Exactly that.
Yeah.
And then once I figured it out, once it it all came crashing down. I'm like, oh, that's what happened. Okay, right now, okay.
Yeah, and it really does. It really does help in making your sales, because when we think about it, that's what you're doing to with your clients, right? You're saying, hey, here's what you're going to gain. Here's what I'm going to gain. Let's do this together. Right.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Cool. So yeah, I mean, that's gold. That's definitely some really, because I do think that all this partnership stuff, it all comes down to just being confident that you can do this on your own. And hey, if you're taking a step towards your business, then you can do it. I mean, do you need other people? Absolutely. But that's what we'll get to in a second when you're setting up your band, right? Yeah, actually, maybe let's talk about that now. So like, let's just say that you are going into business and there are some things that you're going to need. So how do you go about, finding the right people to work with you and setting up your band?
So networking is what I like to do. So networking, I hate when someone says a resume, I hate it. I barely look at it. I look at, anyone could write anything on their resume. I jump on the phone straight to them. I actually had 2 interviews tonight for a VA. And basically, the first one jumped on straight away. As soon as the call started, I knew that energy was horrible. It wasn't good. I knew it wasn't the right person straight off within about 3 or 4 seconds. I gave it a chance, let it go. It was still not the best. The second one, straight away, energy was there, really, really good. Asked certain questions, and it just flowed. Like this is like we're flowing now. It just flowed. There was no awkwardness. It was just straight up conversation like I'd have with a friend.
Yeah.
And the way I run my business is basically a true representation of myself, which is very honest, fun, loving, caring, and just what you see is what you get. And I think really, like, obviously, a business is a true representation of yourself. That's the way I think. The way you are in everyday life is how your business is going to be. So if you're a lying, cheating rat, that's going to come out in your business. Yep. Eventually, it might not happen straight away. It might take 2 years, but eventually it will happen and you'll get a name. But if you're completely honest and open, and a good person, I really believe that will translate into your business.
Yeah. And the same thing, it might not happen right away, but eventually, exactly. It will, if you just stick to your values. Right. And like, I think what I'm hearing is follow your gut. I mean, if you're getting on the phone with somebody and you've got a good gut feeling about it.
Exactly right.
I think that there's a lot to be said about that. And I think we're learning so much about, just the power of like unconscious thought, like just, that gut feeling. I mean, how often is it really wrong?
No, right all the
time. You get this gut feeling. You're like, oh, and then your head sort of tells you something different. And exactly. How often is your head really right? I mean, we overthink everything.
Right. There's a book that my partner's girlfriend read, and she was telling me that 85% or something, it ends up being 90% of the stuff that you think is going to go wrong never goes wrong. It's just the power of the mind, where it takes it to. Off one little, like something that might go wrong, it just spirals out of control. Analysis paralysis.
Yeah. And the joke I heard about that is that he says, 90% of the stuff you worry about never happens. So worrying works.
Exactly.
It doesn't work. It's a waste of time.
Exactly. 100%.
Yeah. So now when we start working from home, I think setting up the jam room or the home office is one of the most challenging things. I mean, sometimes, especially when you're just getting started, you're not really prepared. I mean, you might not even have a room to go into. So what do you think? How do you set up a good working environment at home?
So it's actually a good question. With one of my he's still a mentor now. Basically, we did an exercise on a live training call, and it was, where do you feel most productive? Like, take yourself back. Where have you had the most success in your life when you were a child? Mine was outside, getting in outdoors, sport, always been outdoors and feeling my best, and that's where I perform the best. So I actually started working outside on a table, like on a barbecue table or something like that. So I started working outside and then changing my environments of different cafes. Like sometimes I just get up and go to a cafe and sit there for 6 hours and work, buy breakfast, buy lunch, so I can use their Wi-Fi and that whole cliche story. But that's exactly what happened. So that's where I started finding where I work the best. was outside. I still would work inside sometimes at the kitchen table, or if my roommate was home at the time, it would be in my bedroom, on my bed, uncomfortable as fucking anything, but that's what I had to do. I think it is actually very challenging working from home because you don't have that place and that sort of work environment where you have to sort of start working. And if you've been, that's what I grew up with. And since I was 16, I've been in a work environment. Then having to go purely on my own to motivate myself to work, it's mentally a struggle. And I think physically and unconscious thought is you need to be around people to work.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's, and then obviously as time went on, now I've sort of created a business, a office that's in a beautiful, nice house. It's nice and big. I've got my own ensuite in the office, which is good. So I can train in the morning, come home, have a shower, walk straight into the office, start working. And I've got it positioned so my desk looks outside and overlooks our pool and the water.
There you go.
It feels like I'm outside.
You get the outside feeling.
Exactly. So I've sort of combined it all, which is, and I get in here sometimes and just go like 6 today. I've been here for about 12 hours.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's been a big day today, but it's been really good.
Yeah. Right on. Yeah, no, that's really good advice. Yeah, look back to when you were a kid and think about where you were most productive. That's really cool stuff because I bet you there'd be different answers for different people, right?
100%. Like I think, and for me, like, and the guy that was doing the exercise was the same. He loved working outdoors in nature. So he's got a house in down in Burleigh somewhere. It's like really nice. There's beautiful trees everywhere, beach. I mean, sometimes I will sit near the beach and work as well. Like I went through a stage where there's a cafe in Broadbeach, a really nice beach area, and I'd go down there on a Saturday and just work for 4 hours, have breakfast, sit there and work, listen to the waves. It was beautiful.
Yeah.
Really good.
Yeah, same with me. Well, I mean, now with COVID, it's very different, but yeah, I love getting out to different coffee shops and, just, and you meet different people, you get different energy as well. And I find that kind of like movement it works for me. But on the other hand, and I do know a lot of people that it's too much distraction. They can't even focus if there's too much stuff going on behind. So I guess it really does depend on, you on what drives your creative juices, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, there's even like time. Like I've got a friend, he works best at night. Like he will start at 2 PM and work all the way through to 2 AM.
Yeah.
Because he's at night time, he's just creative. I'm like, I couldn't do that.
No, well, and that's the beauty of working from home is that you get the opportunity to really kind of set your own schedule. I guess it depends on your business, but for the most part, yeah, you can set your own schedule. But as long as you have something scheduled where you're going to be productive, right?
Yeah, I think that's where the calendar comes in. Being what was his name? David Meltzer is his name, I think, the entrepreneur, coach, mentor guy. I looked at his schedule the other day, and it's like he's got the calendar, and he's a student to his calendar from X amount of time to X amount of time. So get your calendar set to make sure you're busy. Because if your calendar's not set, you'll start looking at procrastination, thinking of other things to do, not work, stuff like that. So
it's funny. Yeah. I was just telling someone on my last podcast episode that the same story is that when I first started, I considered my calendar to be my boss, and coming from an entrepreneur, coming from an employee mindset, you get used to sort of blaming your boss for, I can't do that because it's my, I got to go work. I got to go do that. Yeah. But when you become self-employed, all of a sudden you don't have that boss anymore. And now all of a sudden it starts to get a little bit harder to say no to, you want to go to the beach today? You don't work.
Yeah. We always have a joke. One of my mates is a police officer, and he says, do you want to come for a run or do you want to do this? I'm like, I'll just go ask my boss. Just a little joke because I don't have to, I can do whatever I want.
Yeah.
Which is, so yeah, it's pretty, that is a really cool part of it. A really, really liberating part of obviously running your own business is just, I want to take 2 hours off. I can just take 2 hours off. If I'm not feeling like, some days I had a day, not this Monday, last Monday, where I just could not get anything done. It was so unproductive. Nothing was working. It was just a horrible day. And I beat myself up. I'm like, I felt so anxious because I wasn't doing anything.
Yeah.
Because nothing was there. But then I look back and hang on, I've got 6 more days I can make that up. So I don't have to be a certain time. Yeah. I don't have to be anywhere. I mean, I can do this.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, so speaking of that, I mean, that's a tool. And I'm wondering, are there any other tools, or is that or is there any ways that you use that tool effectively to get your business done?
Yeah, so I'm actually just nearly finished building out our own CRM, which is really, really cool. So that's got a lot of functions to be able to set tasks for my staff, set tasks for myself. So it's basically, it's going to be really, really good. It's going to be obviously available to the public as well, to all the consumers, but for us, we're using it as well, which is going to really help efficiency, calendars, meetings, everything like that. So obviously, yeah, it's going to be good.
So like, just for the benefit of maybe somebody who's just getting started in their business, what's a CRM? What does that do?
So basically you can manage staff with it. You manage all your clients, create pipelines, stages of where that prospect might be. So I truly believe anyone that doesn't operate with a CRM, they're doing themselves a disservice, their company a disservice, their clients a disservice, and they're going to find it 10 times harder not to operate with a CRM. So a lot of people use spreadsheets.
Yep.
I even work with businesses that use spreadsheets and a CRM, and I'm like, you're using a spreadsheet, you've got a CRM to eliminate a spreadsheet. Why are we doing the same thing?
Yeah.
Let's cut that time down and use the one platform. Or instead of using 5 different platforms, let's use the one and centralize it all to make it a nice, streamlined, smooth, effective process is what you need. People simplistic processes work. As little as, like, some people like the complicated, but I truly believe the more simplistic your process is, the easier it's going to be to train people, for one, for your staff to use, and for you to manage.
Yeah. Okay. So that, that covers a whole bunch of things at once. Like basically what you're saying is that you need a tool to be able to track everything, track your prospects, what stage of the sales process are they in, so that, and then that's something that, I mean, I love that in so many ways, because I mean, you can be a solopreneur and running your business, and you still need to track all that stuff, because how are you going to remember everything? I mean, and then the next part of it is that, once you're at the point where you're like, okay, I'm ready to grow. I'm ready to grow this thing. Well, if you don't have systems in place, then how are you going to teach somebody what you do? You're basically locking yourself with a ball and chain to this, to this business for the rest of your life, because you can't get out of it because you don't have any systems in place, right?
So scalability is non-existent. You won't be able to scale. You get to a point where exactly that you've got the ability to scale, you can't, and then I've seen it a lot. People start blaming everything else. It's like, no, you need to let go. You need to have a little bit of trust in who you're training, and if you've got SOPs to onboard a new staff member, set a typical amount of days. So it could be a 3-day onboarding process when you come on as a staff member at Nurtured Sales.
Mm-hmm.
3 days, first day introduction, second day training, third day training, done. And it could be a week for some businesses. Depends what your business is, how it's involved, and honestly how simplistic your processes are. If they're too much going on and people get confused, it'll scare people off. They'll say, yes, I understand, what they won't. And then the mistakes will start coming.
Yep. Yeah, they'll start making mistakes, and then they'll start blaming, and next thing you know, exactly. and that ruins your brand as well, because now customers are starting to see these things happen, and they're not going to trust you, right?
Exactly right.
Yeah, I think that's really important to have some sort of system in place to keep track of all this stuff, for sure. And if it has to be a spreadsheet, fine.
But exactly. If that's the CRM, then by all means go, because not everyone can afford the CRM to start. But if you do invest in CRM, learn how to use it properly, and make sure you've got someone that completely understands it and can then train other people, because you're not going to train every staff member that comes on. And as your business grows, you have a team of onboarding that onboards staff. Yeah. And the same with the clients that onboards clients. You're not going to do it all because you won't be able to scale.
Yep. So, and I think it's worth it to look at some sort of CRM, because really you're going to get ideas that you never really thought of before. I mean, if you're creating your own spreadsheet and tracking everything, well, that's one thing. You're sort of creating the columns yourself. But if you're, signing up for some sort of CRM to track all your leads and to track your business, then there's going to be columns in there and inputs in there that you're like, oh, yeah, okay, I'm going to put some information in there. Yeah. It might be stuff that you never even thought about. So you might end up getting a much, smoother running business just by, purchasing a tool, right?
Exactly. And it's just trial and error. Like you've got to be willing and have the humility to, you're going to make mistakes. You're going to fail 10 million times more than you're going to succeed at the start.
Yeah.
And if you've got the humility and you've got the guts to go through it and feel that horrible fucking pain, because it's a pain that especially when you get a client on and you don't perform for them, or that it's just not, like as I said earlier, not the right fit and it doesn't work out. If you beat yourself up about it and waste your energy on it, you're not going to grow. You have to suck it up and take it on the chin. All right, I fucked up there. What can I do to not do that again and make sure we learn from it? Put it in the SOPs. Do not do this, X.
Yeah. I mean, I think if you've listened to any podcast with any entrepreneur, you'll find out that mistakes happen all the time, and it's one of those things where you just have to kind of, don't focus on the negative, but learn from it for sure. Yeah. So it's time for your solo. So tell me what's exciting in your business right now.
Exciting the business. So basically, we've got a really unique lead nurturing service that we offer. So it's basically, think of your business as you're employing someone as a part of your team, but they're outsourced to us. So basically, we'll run your lead nurturing. We'll communicate with the team. We'll still work with the team through group chats, either Signal, Discord, or WhatsApp, whichever the company's either using. If they're not using anything, we'll recommend something. So that's really, really exciting. That's our core product. We help so many businesses do that purely because they've got so much other stuff going on. If they need to then go and hire and employ sales staff, and then train them, and then they don't work out, they've got to start all over again. Where we've got those SOPs, we've got the systems, we've got the procedures, we've got everything ready to be able to increase conversion. Increase conversion, increase lead to prospect to a full member or a full customer, and then also retain those customers. So then you have different lead nurturing processes for different stages of the client.
Wow.
That's our core product, and we're, as I said, building the CRM. We're just about finished. It should be ready in a week, and we're going to start selling that to the consumer and the public in the start of April. So that's going to be a really, really good one, and we're excited to get it out there to people, because it's not just going to be giving it to the person. So we're not just going to give it to their CRM, work with it. There's 3 pillars to the company and the business. So it's tailored solution. So we'll provide a tailored solution with the CRM for your business. Then there's the reps process, which is rapid engagement process. Mm-hmm. So rapidly engaging with your leads, clients, prospects, or existing members, ex-members, anything. Then the last one, the most important one, I think, is the education and training. So we're not just going to sell you, we're going to educate you and train you on it. So we're going to make sure you understand it, so you don't get it and go, yeah, we know how to use it. And then we check in another month. Have you been using it? No, because they don't know how to. And a lot of humans are afraid to say, I don't know how to do something.
Absolutely.
So that's the education and training is a big one. There's so many companies that do it for you that do everything. They won't actually educate you on where your money's going. So if they understand what's happening and where their money's going, they've got more. Then they're going to want to work with you for longer, and they want to be a long-lasting client, which is what we want, because their success is our success. As cliche as it sounds, it's true. And we want to create long-lasting relationships with our clients, not overnight relationships. We don't want to take it to bed for a night and then say goodbye in the morning or sneak out the door.
Yeah.
We want them to come back on the second date, the third date, the fourth date, and then become a partner.
Right on. So if I'm understanding, then what you do is you take control of the entire sales component, not necessarily the marketing. Like, you're not going out there and getting leads. You're taking the leads that people are coming in, they're asking about your business, and you guys are running them through that learning process, that onboarding process.
Exactly. So exactly right. So learning, we can do the whole sales process if they want, but what we find works best is when we support their current sales staff. So especially in the health and fitness industry, we're supporting someone. Our aim is to get them to focus on being amazing closers and using and watching the way we do things to be able to close better. So then they've got someone doing the dirty work, which is chasing up, following up all the leads. We're on the CRM that we've provided where everyone can see the information. So all the staff in the facilities have to do is look at what's going on, communication with the chats, and then the ability to close. which is then going to increase confidence in that staff member, make them enjoy their job more, and they'll keep them longer. So that staff turnover won't be as high either.
Right on. And I mean, you know, speaking with a lot of different entrepreneurs, I mean, a lot of people get into business because they've got some idea or something that they're really good at. But the sales aspect of it all, that's, you know, kind of challenging for a lot of people to get into that. So what you're saying is that you're part of their band. You know, you're that component. So if that's your weakness, you know, then, you know, your business would be perfect to kind of step in and take care.
Exactly. Even the nurturing part, because as I said at the start, you've got marketing, you've got sales, but in the middle, you've got not good quality nurturing.
Yeah.
Yes, with automation, but automation only works to a certain extent until someone switches off and disengages. That's where the rapid engagement process comes. We want to rapidly engage them through real-time texting, real-time emailing, real-time calling.
Yeah. Because a lot of people, when, you know, you get, you know, maybe a lead capture form of some sort, you know, you run them through some sort of automated series, like through MailChimp or something like that. And, you know, a bunch of emails get sent out, but you don't really know where that goes. And, you know, so what you're saying is that, you know, that lead comes in and then it goes to you guys, and then you guys handle the nurturing aspect of it rather than letting an automated process.
There'll be a partly automated, but in the automations, there'll be questions. There'll be engagement copy that we're asking, so they want to, and then there'll be a section. If you've got any more questions, feel free to reach out, reply to this email, call this number, or text this number.
Right.
So then they can text. They're talking to someone. And how many times, so they feel like they can talk. If they've got a question, they can ask us. We can answer.
Yeah.
The sales cycle can shorten so much because they don't have to go through 10 automated texts before they talk to someone.
Right on. That's awesome, man. Geez, cool. So now, how do we learn more about that?
So you can reach me at www.nurturedsales.com. So you can reach me there. You can check out the website, check out everything on it. You'll find a podcast of me there. You can really learn more about me as a person as well from there. And also Instagram is Benjamin Donhart Official, and Facebook just Benjamin Donhart. So that's where you can reach me and find out more. And
perfect. So if you're looking for someone to join your band and do some sales for you, then Benji's your guy. So thank you so much for rocking out with me today, Benji.
Mate, it's been an absolute pleasure. Really, really love it. Thank you so much.
Awesome. And to the listeners, make sure you subscribe, rate, and comment. We'll see you next time on the Work at Home Rockstar podcast.